Hello everybody, I just wanted to do a little quick feedback on the quiz you took last quarter. Number one, I apologize that it took so long for me to post the feedback for you. I was still trying to get everybody to take it, but at this point we're just going to say, hey, it's over. I've posted a video about it, so if you haven't taken it, it's too late. You can't take it. And number two, we're just kind of I'm still ironing out the format of how I want to do this. Should I give you any quizzes this quarter? Trust me, the format will be changed, so it's not the same type of deal, and you would get immediate feedback on that kind of thing. So I'm committed to wanting you to create programs and judge those programs, but I do think that it can be a helpful learning thing to just answer some questions about the concepts and get feedback on that too. And so if we get to that point where I have a solution that I like better than this one, we'll do that. You won't take another quiz that's in this format right here anyway. So just going through real quick, the first thing you want to do is check out in the gradebook in Moodle. What I did in there was I just put in the score that you got out of 20, and then I put which question numbers you got wrong, so you want to know which question numbers you got wrong. Then if you come back to this video and look through the video, you can see which ones you got wrong and maybe figure out why. The one thing you'll note is the Moodle gradebook doesn't allow me to give like extra points than what it was worth either, and this one had I want to say there were 10 questions worth 2 points apiece and a bonus where I would give you 1 point back. So you could have gotten a 21 out of 20, which is perfect, and you might see that in Power School. Moodle, you'll just see a 20, but like I said, the Moodle gradebook is not the official gradebook because it has issues like that, and so in Power School you should see the accurate amount of points in there, especially if you got a perfect 21 out of 20. So number one here said, what's the 3-letter prefix used to name a text box? And of course that's TXT, not a hard concept there. 2 said, what is the 3-letter declaration used to start a variable statement? I think we all know by now that's DIM, short for dimensioning. 3, what declaration do we use to start a variable statement for a variable that never changes in our program? And that's CONST, or const, for constant. So that would be for variables that we want to set to hold that value, and we're not going to let that value change during the runtime of the program ever. 4, what data type should we assign if we want our variable to be a whole number? And that is integer. We've been using that a lot. 5, what data type would we assign if we want our variable to be a real number that can have a decimal portion to it? So that would be a double. Okay, and 6 said, what data type should we assign if we want our variable to hold currency? And that would be decimal. Okay, and it's an easy one to get confused because we think, oh, decimal numbers is decimal and that kind of thing. And I just had a student in my face-to-face class ask me today, well, why do we care? Why are we doing different ones for decimal numbers or currency? And so the real 2 reasons for it is a decimal variable does take more memory, so we don't want to use it when it's unnecessary. So if it's just a regular decimal number, we want to use that double, so we're using a little bit less memory. And secondly, it's just the idea that we have a variable type, then when another programmer sees it, they know right away that we're saying what that variable holds is supposed to be currency. Okay, so they can just look at the variable name and know that it's supposed to be dealing with money amounts. 7 said, using your knowledge about special division operations, figure out what answer will register for the variable int answer in the following statement. So we had int answer equals 457 divided by 5. And one thing to note there is that the backslash is integer division. So 5 goes into 45 9 times, and it goes into 7 1 time, and then there is 2 left over, but integer division doesn't care, so it's just 91 as the answer. And then 8 said, using your knowledge about special division operations, figure out what answer will register for the variable int answer in the following statement. Int answer equals 457 mod 5. Mod division returns any remainder as the answer. So here again, when we divide 5 into 45, we get 9. Into 7, we get 1. 2 is left over, and because we're doing mod division, it's actually that remainder that is returned as the answer. So 2 is the correct answer. 9, the scope of a variable should be global as much as possible. That is false. We want variables scope to be local as much as possible. That means we dimension them inside of the events where they're needed, and that way that information is a little bit more secure. It's not accessible in other events or other parts of the program. And secondly, it doesn't take up as much memory because the variable comes into existence and only holds the data when it's needed. 10 said in the statement dim dBl radius is double, the name of the variable in this statement is dBl radius. We put dBl on the beginning part there so that when anybody sees it throughout the program, they'll know it's a double, and then radius is our descriptive name. Okay. By the way, some people, you'll go out there and look at tutorials and they'll use variables that don't have very good descriptive names at all. That makes it harder for other programmers to edit their code because they got to study what's this variable for and kind of figure it all out. And so descriptive names are important, and using that 3-letter prefix is nice because, like I said, it tells other programmers what data type you're expecting to be in there, which can make calculations happen more accurately. The last there is a bonus. Now you didn't get 2 points for the bonus. You can only get 1 point back here if you missed another question, but it said explain why naming a variable in your code and then never using it is not a good practice. The main thing to note is you're creating a variable that at some point is going to be initialized and take up some memory, so it's not good memory management. Some of you mentioned that it could be confusing to other users. And so all those are answers that I accepted. Some people said that the program wouldn't run and there'd be an exception error thrown, and that's not true. You can have variables in there that aren't used and the program will still run. It's just not a good practice because it's poor memory management. So there's answers to those quiz questions. I hope that made sense to you. Like I said, if we have another quiz this quarter, it'll be in a different format than this. Thanks.